Here are the settings you need to change immediately in Black Ops 6 before getting into the game. We're going to start with graphics and then controller, followed by audio and interface. And as we get into these settings, my PC graphics and audio are optimized by FPS Hub. If you're in the market for a PC optimization, I can absolutely vouch for the people at FPS Hub. Their link is in the description, and if you use code LUNCH, you do get a discount. Genuinely, all affiliate stuff aside, FPS Hub is great, so definitely use them if you're in the market for PC, audio, or network optimization. Starting here in the graphics, we're going to go with display mode as full screen exclusive. This makes it so that your PC can entirely focus on the game itself. Make sure that your display monitor and adapter are your graphics card and the monitor that you're planning on using. Same thing with the refresh rate, make sure it matches your monitor. Same thing with your display resolution as well, making sure it's at what you want to be playing at. So mine's 1080p for the PC, so that's what I'm rocking. Aspect ratio, have this on automatic. Your display gamma should be your CPU RGB. Scrolling down to display gamma, we're rocking 2.2. My brightness is just at 50%. I could honestly bump this up just a little bit so that that's barely visible on my screen, but this is all personal preference. NVIDIA Reflex low latency. From previous Call of Duty settings, this usually depends on where your bottleneck is. For me, my GPU is much better than my CPU, so I rock on plus boost. If you have the opposite, if your CPU is better than your GPU, just have this on. For eco mode preset, this is fine to be on custom. For the VSync, gameplay, and menus, make sure those are both off. Custom frame rate limit I have on unlimited. We'll scroll down here to menu render resolution. I have this on optimal. Pause game rendering is off, and focus mode is on 0. For HDR, I have this off, and that is it for the display settings here. We're going to scroll over to quality. Here in quality, my graphic preset is going to be custom with a render resolution of 100 and dynamic resolution off. Going down to upscaling and sharpening, I have this on fidelity cast. We're going to press square and go into the settings. My strength is on 100. If you notice yourself getting less frames, it's okay to turn this down, but for the crispness of the gameplay, you want to make sure that you have this on 100. For the VRAM scale target, I'm putting this at 90 with variable rate shading on. We're going to scroll down to the rest of the details and textures. This is where things get super important. So texture resolution I have on very low. Texture filter I have on low. Depth of field is off. Nearby level of detail low. Particle resolution very low. Bullet impacts off. Persistent effects off. Shader quality low. On-demand texture streaming, they changed this so you can't really turn it off anymore, but the setting that I have for now is minimal with an allocated texture cache size of 32, download limits on with a daily download limit of 1. This setting is relatively new, and I don't know if we have the exact optimal one, so if you notice yourself getting a lot of packet bursting, kind of mess around with this and see what works best for you. For me, having it on minimal has been best so far. For local texture streaming quality, we're keeping this on normal. Scrolling down to the shadow quality, we're going very low. Screen space shadows off. Screen space ambient lighting off. Screen space reflections off. And static reflection quality is low. Down here to the last settings of this menu, the tessellation is off. Volumetric quality low, deferred physics quality off, weather grid volumes off, and water quality off. And that's it for the quality. We should be good to move on to view. This is where we start to get into a little bit more personal preference. My field of view is 105. If you're on controller, I wouldn't go up much higher than this. If you're on keyboard and mouse, you're free to go up to 120. ADS field of view is affected. Weapon and vehicle field of view are both wide. For the camera, make sure your motion blur is off, both for camera and weapon motion blur. First person camera movement, turn this down to 50%. And then inverted flashbang is personal preference. I keep this off. And that's it for the graphic settings. After this, we're going to controller. Some of these are personal preference, but there's a lot of aiming, movement, and combat settings you need to make sure that you have on, especially in Black Ops 6 with the Omni movement. Here with the button layout, we're going default flipped. This is because I shoot and aim with L1 and R1, but you can keep this on regular just by turning this setting off so that it's regular default. Horizontal stick and vertical stick sensitivity I have on 6.6. For the simplified controls, low motor strain, I haven't messed with all of that yet. For me, it's looking like it's best to keep all of these off. Controller vibration, personal preference, of course, I turn this off. For the dead zone inputs, you want to make sure that your minimum inputs are as low as possible without getting any stick drift. A little bit of stick drift is okay, which is why I like keeping my right stick min all the way down at 0 sometimes, but I'm keeping it on 1 for now. Left stick max is another important one. This makes it so that you reach your maximum strafe speed even faster. It almost makes you have keyboard and mouse like strafe on a controller. So lower this down to 70, 75. Right stick max, I have this on 99. But again, the most important ones for this are going to be the minimums. Make sure they're just as low as possible without getting stick drift. Up next is the aiming. I don't mess with the sensitivity multiplier at all. It's on 1 for everything. Look conversion is standard, but you need to go into your aiming advanced settings here because this is where you find the aim response curve type as dynamic. It's kind of hidden in the settings where previously it wasn't, but you're going to have to go all the way in here to find the dynamic curve. I keep this on 1 as well. Custom sensitivity, I have this on off, and then here's the rest of the settings. Here on target aim assist, just keep this on. Motion sensor behavior, I have this on off, and I do go into the motion sensor advanced settings and turn off the FOV sensitivity scaling. I'm pretty sure that's placebo, but I turn it off anyways just to be safe. Up next is the movement tab. If you want to use automatic tactical sprint, I believe it's here with the sprint assist delay all the way down on 0. However, I like single tap run, which I'll show you in a little bit. Mantle assist I have on off, and crouch assist I have on off. We'll test these settings a little bit more, and they might end up becoming meta at a later date, but for now I'm keeping them off. Over here with the automatic airborne mantle, I'm keeping this off. My slide dive behavior is hybrid. If you haven't gotten used to hybrid, this is your year to get used to it, because diving and sliding are equally as important in Black Ops 6. So try to get used to hybrid. If you need to do slide only or tap to slide or something like that, you can, and this is where you can. But trust me, I'm feeling like it's a hybrid year for us. The movement advanced settings we have here, this is where I go down and turn on my single tap run. That way I only have to click my left stick once to get into tactical sprint. The rest of the settings are here. I have my sprint restore on and slide maintain sprint on, but I do turn my ground and mantle off, and that's where I go to do that here. I don't mess with the vehicle advanced settings, but the last menu over here is combat. This is what it looks like for combat advanced settings. I go down here. There's one important setting. Oh yeah, the tap to reload. So if you notice yourself accidentally grabbing weapons or stuff like that when you're trying to reload, it's all the way in the controller, then combat advanced settings, and then you scroll down to get to the tap to reload. So if you're a Warzone player, you'll probably do prioritize interact or something like that. But for me, I prefer tap to reload. This is where you mess with all the other settings like ping and even a dedicated melee weapon. If you're unsure how to pull out your knife, this is where you go to switch that. So for most people, it's hold the melee button. So for me, it's hold R3, but you can change that to weapon cycle as well, so that if you press your weapon swap, it's just your third weapon, if that makes sense. I like hold melee for now. I might mess around with weapon cycle at a later date, but for now, hold melee. The advanced overlay settings, I don't mess with any of these. And then there you have it. Up next is audio. So for audio, I have my master game volume on 100. I turn my gameplay music and my cinematic music pretty much all the way down and keep dialogue and effect volumes at 100. For audio mix, I use soundbar. This is mainly because when I play on PlayStation, soundbar is the best way to hear audio. I believe PC speaker is technically better when you're playing on PC, but I'm playing on soundbar just to get used to it for going back to console. Make sure that your game sound device is consistent throughout and that it matches with your windows. I would go down here to reduce tinnitus sound and turn this on, just so that when you get flash or something, it doesn't have that ringing sound that goes in your headset. Over here to voice chat, I have proximity chat on, last words and all that. Push to talk, and then make sure that your microphone input device is selected, and that's all for audio. And then the very last settings are here in the interface and account. In interface, we're actually going to go over to readability, then scroll down to color customization, scroll down to filter 2 on the color filter, and turn this on both with a world color intensity of 80. This adds kind of like a cool colorful filter to the game that makes it look even better than it already does. And then here at the gameplay HUD, I turn my minimap shape on square with minimap rotation on, and I turn radar and compass type off just because I don't really like the compass that much. But this is where you go to change your HUD presets if you want standard, inverted, so on and so forth, wherever you want your minimap to be. And the very last setting over here in account and network is I turn dismemberment and gore effects off. At least on console, this is known to make an improvement in either your frames or your input delay. So just to be safe, I have this off on PC as well. And those are the best settings for the Black Ops 6 beta. I hope this helped. Like and subscribe if it did, and I'll catch you next time at lunchtime.